This time, let's go to Neuro-Psychiatric examination preparation, tips on how to answer the number 2 sample job interview question, which is, how do you handle a challenge? Or how did you handle a challenge? Before answering this question, our source is from www.thebalancedcareers.com. Now, what the interviewer wants to know when you are asked this question: how do you handle a challenge, or how did you handle a challenge? Regardless of our job, things may go wrong. There will always be a difficult situation, and it won't always be business as usual. With this type of question, the hiring manager wants to know how you will react in a difficult situation. The hiring manager will really want to know on what are those approaches that you will make in order to overcome this difficult situation. So as a tip, focus on how you resolve a challenging situation when you respond. Focus on how you will resolve. Consider sharing a step-by-step outline of what you did and why it worked. So from this time, list already those situations or recall those situations, difficult situations, and what are those steps that you have made in order to overcome that difficult situation. Next, the question, how do you or how did you handle a challenge, is an opportunity for you to communicate your problem-solving and critical thinking abilities, along with your aptitude for succeeding under stress. So here, in order for you to answer this easily during your actual interview, list already those situations that you have encountered that you can consider that is a difficult situation, and recall how did you overcome it, or how did you resolve it, diba? So there are multiple ways to handle a challenge. Yes, people are different, so therefore they can think in different ways. Multiple ways to handle a challenge. Example, one company might prefer an employee who takes a measured, methodological, and planned approach, whereas another organization might prefer individuals who dive in and do all they can to meet the challenge without necessarily thinking of the bigger picture. But in order to avoid this diving into the problem without necessarily thinking the bigger picture, this is a situation where you are already prompted. When you are already prompted in a situation where you need to think, where you need to decide immediately without thinking of the bigger picture of the situation. But as a tip here, always consider the general public welfare. Always consider that your decision, your immediate decision, will really benefit the general. Considering the fact that there are factors that may be affected, but as much as possible, make an immediate decision considering the welfare of the general, the welfare of your employment. But if the problem is, if you are given with ample time, bigger time to solve the problem, I am encouraging you to be proactive already. Make a measured, methodological, and planned approach in order to overcome the difficult situation. Number 2, what the interviewer really wants to know. So this is a clear picture already. Every employee will face challenges from time to time. Yes, that's normal, inevitable. With this question, interviewers want to get a sense of your approach. Expect that the interviewer will give you a situation, and how will you do, or how will you attack on that? What are those approaches that you will be doing in order to solve that, in order to overcome that difficult situation? So, depending on the office culture, some approaches will make more sense than others. Depending on the industry, different techniques for managing problems may be a priority. But as a tip here, study already the position that you are applying for in the company that you are applying for. Study that and expect what are those worst situations or difficult situations that may come, and list how or what are those approaches that you will be applying for in order to overcome that difficult situation. So again, as a tip here, in order to answer this question easily, study the company, study the position that you are applying for, and what are those possible worst or difficult situation that you may encounter, and what are those approaches that you will be applying for in order to attack that problem, in order to solve that problem. Number 3, this is now how to answer. How did you handle a challenge? How to answer that? There are 3-step strategy to formulate an effective response. So this time, this is very important. Follow these 3 steps. Step 1 is that recall a challenge that was significant but one that you considered a success. So again, I have already said that recall those situations that you can consider that is a difficult situation, and also you can consider that you have resolved it successfully. So what are those situations that you have encountered that you can consider it as difficult, and what are those steps that you have made in order to succeed it? Most importantly, you want to be able to discuss a real professional challenge or problem. Yes, the employer here really wants to know if you have experienced this problem, or the employer wants to know how or what are those approaches that you will be applying for. Again, discuss a real professional challenge or problem, not an arbitrary or annoying occurrence. You also want to be able to define how you met the challenge successfully. So again, what are those steps in order for you, or what are those approaches in order for you to solve it successfully? If possible, mention a challenge most relevant to the role you're applying to. In your answer, you'll want to set up the challenge clearly and succinctly. So again, study the company that you are applying for, the position that you are applying for, and recall those situations. Recall those situations or challenges or difficult situations that is related to the position that you're applying for, so that the employer can relate you as the applicant to the position that you are applying for. Can think that if you are already in the position, the employer has already an idea on how you will attack, or how will you approach the situation. So that is the important. The very first is that recall a challenge that was significant, but one that you considered success. Next, step 2. Don't just say what you did. Explain how you did it. Yes. So again, don't just say what you did and explain how you did it. This is now what I'm saying is that what are those approaches that you have made? What are those step-by-step process that you have applied for in that challenge in order to overcome it? The employer is interested in learning your approach to a challenge, including the actions you took and your thought process. Don't skip ahead to the end result. Use specifics to describe what you did to contribute to the solution. So again, use specifics to describe what you did to contribute to the solution. So be specific. What are those steps? What is the first step that you have made? The second step? The third step? So on and so forth. And describe it to the employer. That is if you are asked with a question, how do you handle a challenge or how did you handle a challenge? So, be specific with a step-by-step process on how you solve it. Because that is an approach that you have made. Step 3. Emphasize the outcome and what you learned from it. Again, emphasize the outcome and what you learned from it. Employers want to hire individuals who can turn challenges into opportunities. When brainstorming an answer, think about ways to emphasize how you made the most a difficult time. It is possible to learn from your hardship and then apply what you learned to future challenges, and make sure to express your takeaways and how challenges have helped you grow. So, in this step 3, it's the outcome already. Emphasize the outcome. So obviously, you will be sharing those situations that you have experienced that is successfully. And what are your learnings? What are the learnings that you have gained there from that challenges? Diba? Turn challenges into opportunities. Turn challenges into as a skill. Turn challenges into as an idea. Diba? Express your takeaways and how challenges help you grow. Again, as an entirely follow the STAR method in giving the examples. Still, you give a situation. Your situation must be a difficult situation and that is significant because you have overcome it. And what are the tasks in that situation? Then what are your actions? If you are giving an action, so be specific to describe what you did to contribute to the solution. And then what is the result? Result is also accompanied with your learning. So from that situation, aside from that you have successfully resolved it, what are your learnings also? So, in order to answer these questions, how do you handle a challenge or how did you handle a challenge? So, follow these 3 steps and also the STAR method. So, from the next video to the next video, I will be showing you what are those best examples of answers, examples of the best answers. So that will be for the next.